in the Big Ten. Trevion Williams gets the start at the 5 and wins the tip against Sylvester Obanda. And the Boilermakers start with the basketball and a sophomore Eric Hunter Jr. The graduate transfer Jihad Proctor, Purdue's leading scorer, handles out of High Point University. And inside it will be Williams in between two Ohio defenders, absorbing the contact and finishing with a chance for 3.
Well, what a terrific first offensive possession for Purdue as they moved the basketball. Ohio took them out of their initial action, but you get great ball movement, and then Nogel Eastern, who Matt Painter really needs to play at a higher level, finds Trevion Williams, who gets contact and continues right where he left off in Lincoln.
Free throw missed by Williams. The foul against Preston, the player Ohio can least afford to lose, picking up the foul on the opening possession. This is a very young Ohio team. 8 true or redshirt freshmen. The true freshman London McDay starts with a sophomore Preston. Seniors Indardis and Obanda. And the reigning MAC freshman of the year Ben Vanderplas, now a sophomore, plays the 4.
You would think if you're Purdue, you're going right back to Trevion Williams. You're going to let him go to work on Sylvester Obanda and really exert his will on the grad transfer from Georgia Tech.
Williams leaves it short, and here is Preston. 6'4", 187 out of Orlando, Florida. And a foul away from the action against Purdue. Our officials today, DJ Karstensen, Paul Sells, and Bill Hick. Nogel Eastern picks up the foul for Purdue. This is Vanderplas, the freshman of the year in the MAC last season. 36% shooter from 3, and he gets the friendly home rattle.
Well, this is a very good Ohio shooting team, and Ben Vanderplas has played as well as almost anybody on this roster outside of Jason Preston. Last 2 games, giving you 17 points and shooting 60% from the field. A matchup nightmare at the 4, can really post up, but also shows the ability to shoot the 3 ball.
Eastern has had a nightmare year shooting, and he travels. 35% from the field, and he turns it over for the Boilers.
Well, to me, it just looks like from afar that he has lost his confidence on the offensive end of the floor, and it starts with his free throw shooting woes. He's only taken 6, and he's made none of them. But to me, that's a huge number because he attempted 100 last year. He can post, he can drive you, but you almost get the feeling that he doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to go to the free throw line.
Here's Obanda inside of Williams, and Sylvester Obanda, the grad transfer from Georgia Tech, scored in double figures in 4 straight, and he has an early deuce.
That's just too easy for Trevion Williams. You have to give some sort of resistance. Obanda just goes baseline, and Trevion Williams, I know you don't have Matt Harms, but it's got to be harder than that.
Purdue trying to run Sasha Stefanovic off some screens. They do. Proctor with 4 to shoot. Jihad Proctor sent back. Proctor with 1 to shoot, won't get it off. The freshman London McDay had the block shot, and the convo is raucous early in Athens.
So far, Ohio locked in on the defensive end of the floor. London McDay really guarding Jihad Proctor, the Purdue leading scorer on the season. A terrific defensive possession. If you're Jeff Bowles, you're ecstatic with the start of this game.
2 turnovers and a couple of misses the last 3 possessions for Purdue. Preston pressured by Hunter. Williams out on the double. Here's Vanderplas. He's hit 1. Long in the second and grabbed by Proctor. Here's a drive by Eastern. That's turned aside by Preston with Obanda from behind as well. The first-year head man at Ohio University, Jeff Bowles, a 2-time Bobcat captain, a 1995 graduate. Excelled the last 3 years at Stony Brook in the America East. as his team gives up another 2 for Williams, who has the first 4.
He is so long, and he gets to that right jump hook so effectively. Chris Collins said he may be the best low block scorer in the Big Ten Conference, and I think that's a fair argument to make, because when you get the ball to Trevion Williams on the block, it's usually a pretty high percentage shot that he gives you.
As a travel against Dartis. Trevion Williams, 8.5 points, 6.5 rebounds for Purdue. Those don't jump off the page. But in just 17 minutes, they do. Matt Painter would love to get Williams a little more time. It's a matter of conditioning. It's a matter of staying out of foul trouble. How long without Matt Harms will Matt Painter have to go with Williams tonight?
Well, he's only played over 18 minutes twice on the season, which is honestly incredible. You look at his per 40 minutes, they're off the charts. A very productive player, but as you said, trying to play his way into better shape. And without Matt Harms, they're going to need him.
Hunter with an ear assist, a missed 3. Off the bench, Aaron Wheeler, who has really struggled to shoot for Purdue.
He is now 3 of 22 from 3 on the road. It has been a struggle. When I say on the road, that's road games and neutral site. And this is one thing Purdue will do. They'll guard you. And right now, Purdue locking up Ohio in the half court.
One of the great point guards in the country resides in Athens, Ohio. We'll detail Jason Preston's journey when we return.
This season.
What's the best way Purdue can defend him?
Well, I think you have to take away his space, make him make decisions under duress. You can't let him just pick you apart. If you let him kind of have almost be like a quarterback without a rush, he's really going to get you. But you put some pressure on him. We'll see how Purdue guards pick and roll when he comes off of it. But you got to make him uncomfortable.
Sasha Stefanovic with his first bucket for Purdue. The sophomore coming off a 2 for 8 effort from deep against Nebraska, but he had 8 threes in the previous 2 games. Just about everybody on Purdue is coming off a poor shooting effort in a 70-56 loss on Sunday in Lincoln. Shot 6 for 35 from 3 collectively.
When Purdue's going, he's a guy that usually has it going himself on the offensive end of the floor. He is so important to what they do in spreading the defense.
2 threes missed on that possession, but a foul against Purdue. Jordan Dartis had the first miss, then Preston. Ball will stay here. The foul against Isaiah Thompson, the freshman out of Zionsville. This is an Ohio team that does shoot it well. Nearly 36% from 3. And they'll pick up another foul away from the ball. This against Stefanovic for a quick Purdue third. How do you expect Purdue to defend Ohio?
In terms of what way? Just as a team in general? Or I would say that you're going to be tight on Preston and pick and roll. You have to worry about what Vanderplas is doing, especially in the post. And you cannot lose that man. Jordan Dartis is an elite shooter. And you look at his career, 45% over a 4-year career from 3. He's made 256 3-point field goals. You have to know where he's at all times.
Likely to be the all-time MAC leader in threes made if he stays healthy. Gives Ohio the lead with a 2. An early 4 for Williams, bodying up Obanda. The miss softly off the rim and down to the point guard Preston.
Well, that was outstanding defense by Obanda, just not allowing Trevion Williams to body him.
And a carry is called against Jason Preston at the other end. Trevion Williams will take his first seat. Evan Boudreau, the second-year graduate transfer from Dartmouth on for Purdue. Could he have a big game tonight?
I think he could. And Coach Matt Painter talked about that at shoot-around, how this is a game where Evan Boudreau is going to be incredibly comfortable at the 5. With the MAC roster build, he's got an offensive advantage. And there you see right there a terrific feed. Eric Hunter in the pick and roll finds Boudreau. And the Ohio weak side pick and roll help. Just not getting it done there. Boudreau, an uncontested layup.
Nearly 1,000-point scorer in his 2 years at Dartmouth. And Boudreau will have to give them heavy minutes tonight without Matt Harms. Another turnover for Preston. That's 2 in a row.
Well, Purdue has been physical with Jason Preston, and early on the returns have definitely been there. Right there, he just loses it right off his knee. We've talked about Preston's numbers, he has been outstanding, but you got to credit Matt Painter's ball club so far for doing a nice job on the defensive end of the floor.
And it forced Ohio into 4 turnovers in the last 5 possessions.
And that's what Jeff Bowles said at shoot-around today. He said, we cannot turn the ball over. We got to rebound.
Stefanovic no going to 3, grabbed by Ben Vanderplas.
Ohio went zone to a 2-3 on that possession. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them do that a lot and make Purdue prove that they can make some perimeter jump shots.
A missed 3 by McMurray precedes an Ohio foul. And it's against Obanda, his first. And with that, Obanda will take a seat for Nate Springs. Ohio was a little banged up tonight as well. Their freshman center Nolan Foster is out. They're down a couple of players that were likely to be starters at the beginning of the year, Ben Roderick and Connor Morrell. Freshman point guard Miles Brown is available, we're told, for what would be his first game of the year. Thompson bumped from behind, and a senseless foul against McMurray will send the freshman Isaiah Thompson to the line.
Well, that was terrific zone offense as you get a ball screen on the top of the zone and you let Isaiah Thompson get into the lane, get some contact, get to his floater.
A familiar last name to Purdue fans. Isaiah's brother PJ, 97 starts from 2015 to 18, now a graduate assistant for the Boilermakers. Just his 4th and 5th free throw attempts of the season, and he hits 1 for 2. We welcome those of you who just watched Florida defeat Providence. Here in Athens, Ohio, Kevin Brown, Robbie Hummel with you. Purdue with a rare Big Ten 2 MAC road trip. The first game for the Boilermakers at a MAC team in 7 seasons, and the first time Ohio's hosted a Big Ten team since 2001. Isaiah Thompson just picked up his 2nd foul for Purdue. If you're just joining us, Trevion Williams, an early 4 points for Purdue, and he'll have to play big minutes, Robbie, with Matt Harms out due to a concussion.
And something he hasn't done all year. Trevion Williams, a guy who's only played more than 18 minutes twice on the season, and so much is going to be asked of him tonight. We see Evan Boudreau at the 5 currently, a guy that could potentially have a big game built against this MAC roster.
Jason Preston with the ball. If you're just joining us, this is one of the great point guards in the country so far in Preston. Nearly a triple-double last time out. 4th in the nation in assists. 0 in Hunter Green and White. And his team will have 4 to shoot it.
Well, if you're Purdue, you love to see Aaron Wheeler engaged on the defensive end of the floor. A guy that has not shot the basketball well. Just 2 of his last 21 from 3. But when you're going through a slump like that, you have got to find other ways to make an impact on the game. And he can do that on the defensive end. He is more than capable.
Here's Vanderplas, 1 to shoot, and a travel before the contact. Another Ohio turnover, their 5th. Last time a Big Ten team came to Ohio University in a men's basketball game, December 8th, 2001, Wisconsin, in what was a 77-71 Ohio loss. Here's Jihad Proctor, the graduate transfer from High Point, with a 3-pointer.
He's such a big part of what they do offensively, and right there he comes flying off the pin down. Really nice job of setting his feet. Terrific balance, and Jihad Proctor coming off his worst game as a Purdue Boilermaker. They need him to score the ball.
Proctor had 25 straight in double figures going back to last year, before a 5-point, 2-for-11 effort on Sunday against Nebraska.
He's a guy who's acclimated really well, a guy who fits in with what Purdue is trying to do, but a very good scorer and an unselfish scorer at that.
Is that why you think he's fit in so well? A little bit of unselfishness?
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest part about these grad transfers is you have to find somebody who fits your culture and is going to do exactly what you want. And that's a perfect example of Jihad Proctor being locked in, now making the right play and finding Eric Hunter for a wide open 3 in transition.
What a sequence there. The takeaway from Preston. Hunter, the sophomore, hits the 3. And Purdue is on a 13-2 run.
I think, Kevin, this is what's been so surprising about Purdue is you look at their roster and you think they have some good shooters, and it just has not translated to the road for whatever reason. The Nebraska game, about as poor of a shooting night as you can remember a Purdue team having.
31% from the field. Nate Springs way off the mark, the redshirt freshman on an Ohio three-point try. Hunter hit the last triple. This time he'll feed Williams, and Williams draws a foul against Nate Springs. When we return, we're going to show a little love to our Robbie Hummel.
Did really well. The World Championships, we won a gold medal. It's been an outstanding experience. So we're hoping for the Olympics. We've got a great chance. We'll see what happens, but. Yeah, it's been awesome. I can't have asked for any more.
Folks, you should have seen the work our makeup artist did during that break. Robbie's face was a fire truck shade.
Yeah, I was really thrilled to talk about that right there. So
we got to show you some love. It's an amazing accomplishment.
I appreciate it.
You joined
down here in USA basketball. Clearly, if they're picking me.
You going for a repeat 2020? What do you think?
I would say, well, maybe if we're in the Olympics, I guess it'd be a great win and an upset if I could get it over LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Wouldn't count on that one.
Listen, with the head-to-head battles you and Kevin had in the NBA, I'd say it's anybody's game.
Yeah, we were really matched up well.
Here's Preston with a misfire and a chance for tempo for Purdue, which is on a 9-0 run. Stefanovic finds the open Proctor. What a sequence this has been for Jahan Proctor. 12 in a row for Purdue. He scored 6 of those baskets, or 6 of those points, and assisted on another basket.
This looks like a different team than what we saw in Lincoln on Sunday. And the effort and energy level, the main thing that sticks out, that ball is moving. And Sasha Stefanovic with a terrific pass, hitting Jahan Proctor right in the shooting pocket.
Here's McDay to stop the 12-0 run. London McDay, the freshman out of St. Vincent St. Mary's in Akron.
That's his deal. You let him get to his pull-up. He shoots 56% from the field on pull-up jump shots. A guy who, as a freshman, has made a big impact on Jeff Bull's program, and a good player, averages 8 points a game, has done some really good things. A tough guard.
Stefanovic with a deep three, no go. And a high-flying rebound to Ben Vanderplas. Preston. A three for Obanda is no good. Just his 12th attempt from deep of the year. Ohio 1 for 8 from deep.
Boy, Trevion Williams was not ready for that basketball at all, and could have easily gone up with it. A nice pass from Jahan Proctor. Purdue playing with some pace, and they haven't done that all season, but I like it. When you're struggling in the half court, why not find some easy opportunities?
There's Preston with a bucket from Vanderplas. Jason Preston finally on the board for Ohio.
Ohio taking advantage of Trevion Williams just not being ready for the basketball. Now all of a sudden Ohio's running in transition, and you got a guy in Jason Preston who can get it going in a hurry.
And Evan Boudreau is ready to check in, likely for Williams for Matt Painter. Eastern finds Williams for an easy deuce.
Well, that's the second time that No-Gel Eastern has made a phenomenal pass inside of that painted area. He's gotten Trevion Williams 2 incredibly easy buckets.
As much as Eastern has struggled from the field, there are still so many things he does well.
He's a talented guy. Honestly, I know he hasn't shot the ball well, as we see Sylvester Obanda called for the offensive foul on the moving screen, but he's a talented dude, and he can pass, he can post, he can drive. Right now, searching for some confidence, and he's playing well here early, but he's just too talented to be putting up the numbers that he is.
Second foul against Obanda knocks him out of the game for Ohio. Eastern can and will run the point.
Ohio back to that 2-3 zone, and it almost at times looks like a 3-2, but Mork's back to a 2-3. We expect Purdue to overload that zone, and they find Eric Hunter in the corner.
And Hunter finds another 3. Purdue 4 for 7 from deep in the early going. Again, they were 6 for 35 on Sunday.
Let's look like a different ball club. They are shooting it with confidence. The ball is moving, and so far against the 2-3 zone, they've gotten terrific shots.
Tardis has had very little room to shoot. One of the all-time leading three-point shooters in MAC history. Springs steps out. And Nate Springs, a redshirt freshman, cans a triple. How long would you stick in the zone if you're Ohio, the way Purdue's shooting it?
I'd use it to mix things up, but I would not stay in it if they're going to shoot the basketball. I know that this team is not a good shooting team by percentage, but they've got guys that can fill it up and do it in a hurry. I think you mix your defense with it, but you don't rely on it.
Proctor a miss from deep there. Bobcats 3 losses. All the power conference teams. Villanova by 24. Baylor by 17, Utah by 14, the latter 2 in Myrtle Beach. They've won 4 in a row since. Tardis knocked away on the way up by Eastern. Boudreau has the loose change.
Boy, Jordan Tardis could have moved that ball. He had an advantage to the corner.
And a great attack by Eastern, who takes it strong for a Purdue deuce. Timeout, Jeff Bowles is just going in now.
Well, the ball is moving, and honestly, this is a Purdue team that has had moments of making shots. They made 14 threes against Virginia, which most people say is one of the best defenses in the country. So they have guys who are capable. They've just kind of been in a funk, and I think the Nebraska game was one that really snowballed on this team.
Nate Springs, meanwhile, hits his second three. The redshirt freshman playing due to some foul trouble against Sylvester Obama.
Well, he played 3 minutes against Tennessee Tech and did have 6 points in those 3 minutes. He was productive, but tonight he's come out bombs away and has been very good from the three-point line.
Offensive rebound, Eastern off the Hunter miss and cannot stick it in right-handed.
That's a good thing to see if you're a Purdue fan. No-Gel Eastern, again, being aggressive, going back up with that basketball. He doesn't make it, but those are plays that he can make.
How about Springs with an offensive rebound off the Preston miss?
I feel like Nate Springs has maybe earned some more playing time out here. He's doing some really good things for Ohio.
And Vanderplas throws it away. A 9th Ohio turnover. Here's Boudreau off the Proctor miss. No. And here comes the 10th Ohio turnover. Eastern, Boudreau on the deck. Vanderplas has it. It'll be a tie-up. Possession to Ohio. So whether or not that was a turnover or just a scramble of a possession, Ohio has the ball.
The last 2 possessions have been reminiscent of Nebraska in the sense that Purdue missed so many shots and open shots in the paint. The last 2 possessions, it's been the same deal. You get No-Gel Eastern with a layup, and then Evan Boudreau all alone can't finish.
Nomad Harms, if you're just joining us, suffered a concussion against Nebraska Sunday, did not travel to the arena, either for shoot-around or for the game.
Well, that was a nice rotation there by Eric Hunter. He blew up that pick and pop on the way to Nate Springs, who we've seen knock down 2 3-point field goals.
Springs with a wild bounce pass, and that is an Ohio turnover. That's the Bobcats' 10th.
Boy, they have had issues taking care of the ball tonight, and it's led to buckets. They're incredibly fortunate there. Jahad Proctor got a terrific shot with his pull-up jumper.
Tardis, their 3-point marksman, takes it to the rim. Left it short. Stefanovic on the ground and pushed it away to Eastern. Numbers for Purdue. Eastern finishes with the offhand. His aggression continues.
But what you gotta love about that is that No-Gel Eastern gave it up early. So often you see guys want to pound the air out of the basketball. Eastern gave it up, knew he could get it back, ran the floor. Terrific fast break by Purdue.
Vanderplas off the pass fake. And Springs called for the push. That's his second foul. Jeff Bowles not a fan. So 2 fouls on both Springs and Obanda puts Jeff Bowles in a bind without his typical backup center Nolan Foster. Now Bilek and Paul Sells are headed over to the scorer's table. Well, something's going on, folks. The official pointing to the scoreboard. You wonder if this is potentially then sorting out the team fouls.
I think that Ohio was saying that foul was not on Nate Springs, and
it was. we can confirm that. You think somebody yelled from the crowd, "Hey, I heard Robbie Hummel won the male basketball player of the year"?
Probably.
You sure about that?
That's probably what happened.
Thompson for three.
It's just an easy game. When you get the basketball in the post, you feed your big fella, and all of a sudden the ball is moving. Isaiah Thompson has had moments this year. That time he stepped into that three with a ton of confidence.
The fifth made three for Purdue. This is the largest lead for the Boilermakers. Darted, not even close on the attempted answer, and here's Proctor with the eyes up. A chance to push for Purdue, and Proctor, an open three for Hunter, his third.
Well, again, that play is made by Trevion Williams and his willingness to run the floor. He sucks that defense in, and the beneficiary is Eric Hunter, who trails right into it and gets a wide open shot.
8 in a row for Purdue. Inside Williams. Boy, he had a whole lot of room. He hopped away from the basket, and then he commits an over-the-back foul.
Well, Purdue all year has been mostly a half-court offense, but tonight it's been off to the races. No-Gel Eastern giving it up, getting it back, and the pretty right-hand finish.
Camaraderie within the company, I think.
Yeah, really good brotherhood right there.
Look for Sean and Robbie in studio together. Never again.
I love working with Sean. It was a great time.
You didn't have to be nice at the end of that, you know.
To smooth things over for the company rep.
Purdue in an 8-0 run. They have turned Ohio over 10 times and scored considerably off those turnovers. Bobcats just 4 in their last 14 to the field, and Preston's going to hoist something. Down to 2, it'll be Springs. Got it off in time. Drew the iron, and a hard-fought rebound for Aaron Wheeler. The Purdue bench loves it. And I think a technical foul has just been called. Technical foul against Ohio coach Jeff Bowles, who wanted a foul. Jeff Bowles thought there should have been a foul against Wheeler, and he is teed up.
Well, it was certainly a physical rebound by Aaron Wheeler, and could definitely make the case that there was a ton of contact. Wheeler colliding with the Ohio player.
The word we heard officially is technical foul on the bench. Eric Hunter to the line. He's now 14 for 16. You be the judge.
You're going to see both Aaron Wheeler, and I believe it's Ben Vanderplas, and there's definitely contact. Both players going for that rebound. More often than not, though, if there's no block out and there is contact, it's going to be a play on. Now, if Ben Vanderplas had gone and found Aaron Wheeler's body, then I think you have more of a case for saying he went over the back. But to me, that's just incidental contact and part of the physicality of playing in the Big Ten.
The 10-0 Purdue run. I'll just say, though, Jeff Bowles does look fantastic in all green today.
Oh, this suit is terrific. It's really done well there.
Williams, yes.
That's a grown man post move, and he's got a size advantage on the freshman Nate Springs, but that's exactly what you want to see Trevion Williams do. Go right to the rim and right through Springs' chest.
And Williams grabs the rebound.
Boy, and that's where Ohio usually thrives. They love to set back screens for Jason Preston. He gets a pretty good look, and you have to think if Ohio's going to find a way back in this game, it's going to have to be Preston and Ben Vanderplas. Those two have combined for just 5 points, and on the season they've been their two main guys offensively.
There's Williams facing up Springs. Williams, and he's called for his second foul, this one offensive.
Just a smart play as Trevion Williams puts the ball on the floor, and Nate Springs wisely sets his feet and takes the charge.
Evan Boudreau replaces him. You've seen some good, you've seen some bad from Trevion Williams so far. 8 points, a couple of assists as well, but 2 fouls to go with it. Good news, the foul trouble may not be an issue the way Purdue is defending. 7 misses in a row for Ohio from the field. Preston in the air. There's Dartis 3 to shoot.
Well, they've really stagnated Ohio, and I don't think they had no idea what was on the shot clock there. But when you look at who's on the floor, there's 4 freshmen and a senior for Ohio. They're going against a pretty experienced Purdue ball club. A lot of guys that have played in the NCAA tournament and had a lot of success in their careers here at Purdue. This Ohio team is talented, but playing a lot of youth right now.
In terms of experience, it's not what you want. Scoreless for nearly 6 minutes as Boudreau misses.
That's one aspect of his game where it just has not translated. He's now 0 for his last 7 from 3. A guy that made shots in his career at Dartmouth, but hasn't been able to do it at the Big Ten level.
1 for 12 in total this year. Preston just 1 for 6 in the first half. Hosted turnovers as well. The dribble terminated. Dartis travels.
Boy, Jahad Proctor was completely locked in defensively on that play. Snuffed out the pick and roll, but then knew he had to get back to Jordan Dartis with his 3-point shooting ability. You know Purdue's going to guard, but they've been really locked in tonight.
Purdue can hold for the last of the first half. The first half, which has seen a pair of 12-0 runs. Thompson for 3. And Preston will not put it up in time. Purdue has not allowed more than 70 in a game this year. They gave up 17. That was -2 with Sylvester Obanda in the game. 9.5 minutes, -18 in the 10.5 without him. Obanda back on the floor for Ohio. We start the second half. Purdue shot 45% overall, 50% from deep, and turns it over right away. Now the poor entry from Hunter to Williams.
That's honestly on Trevion Williams, though. You've got to get a body on the guy that's guarding you in the post. And Matt Painter is telling these guards every time he is open, you've got to throw him the ball. And that's not going to make Matt Painter happy either. You gamble through the passing lanes, then all of a sudden you give Sylvester Obanda a wide open layup.
Ohio's first bucket sends a 3 from Nate Springs at a 6:25 mark of the first half. Back into Williams. Singled up with Obanda. And Williams is stopped. Play stays alive, 8 to shoot. Williams will try it again. Miss again. Offensive rebound to Nojel Eastern.
Obanda has really guarded Trevion Williams well at times. You see him fall down, and they're going to get him for a flopping warning there. Give credit, though. Nojel Eastern kept that play alive. He's made winning plays tonight, and at times it seems like he's almost been so caught up in his jump shot and shooting woes. Here you see the flopping warning. There's certainly contact there, but good call by the officials. I thought he could have gone down on the prior play where Trevion Williams was posting him up, and there was certainly a lot of contact, but you go down there, and that was a flop.
So no personal foul, just a flop warning. I haven't worked with you before, so I don't know your thoughts on this new flopping warning rule.
I mean, to me, there's a little bit of gamesmanship in basketball. And I'm not saying that you should be doing the deal where you're flopping all over the place and it's almost to a point of like Major League Soccer. But I do think that there is something to be said about selling a call. And at this point now, you've taken that away. I think good officials know who's flopping and who's not. So I almost feel like having to make another judgment call is really tough for these guys. Their job's already hard enough. It's not easy to ref college basketball or any basketball for that matter.
Shots fired at Major League Soccer, by the way.
Well, I mean, any soccer, whether it's European.
I think that's just because you played in Europe and you don't want to make the Italian fans watching mad.
No, I think that sometimes you see guys do that where they throw their head back, and at times it's a little ridiculous, but I also think that the officials have a pretty good grasp of that.
McDay with a missed three for Ohio. So the next flop would be a technical foul if it occurs for Ohio. Here's Stefanovic off the feed from Williams. The rare drive by Stefanovic and a foul, offensive, going against Stefanovic. His second.
Sasha Stefanovic going to get downhill with the dribble handoff, and you see just a little out of control. Definitely could have been a dump off to Jihad Proctor. That was a nice job, though, London McDay, of taking his position and taking the contact.
And he was just outside of that restricted arc. Jason Preston just 2 points in the first half. The leading scorer for Ohio. He had 7 rebounds, 2 assists, but 3 turnovers as well. Here's Obanda missing a 3. Offensive rebound to McDay, and good play on both ends for the freshman.
We talked about his toughness, and he really crashes the glass. You've got to understand on the scouting report, it's going to say London McDay is coming every possession. Jihad Proctor not figuring that out. Just a poor block out.
And Obanda just picked up his 3rd foul for Ohio.
Boy, and they just haven't played well without him on the floor. You see McDay flying in. 6'3", 185 pounds. He's incredibly active on the offensive glass.
The officials are over. All right, on we go. Obanda will stay in with the 3 fouls. And this foul is against Vanderplas, his first for Ohio.
Nogel Eastern really cut hard there, and that's a tough call because this is a physical game. Ben Vanderplas certainly impeded his road, but you're not just going to let a cutter cut through the lane.
Jeff Bowles clapped his hands and walked all the way to the end of the Ohio bench, not wanting to pick up another technical foul. Eastern finds Williams, waits his time, and then Vanderplas is the one to take it away. Boy, Obanda a little slow to get up.
At times Trevion Williams looks like he's almost surprised to get the basketball. Nogel Eastern has really done a nice job of finding him, but Williams again just not ready for the basketball.
Williams out for the double against Preston. Purdue's pressured him well.
Boy, Eric Hunter is really guarding Jason Preston right now, doing a terrific job.
Here's another uncontested offensive rebound for McDay, who hits the deck. And a jump ball will stick with Ohio.
This is going to be a game, Kevin, where Nogel Eastern's stat line isn't going to represent how well he has played. He got a hand on that basketball again and saved a bucket. Right now he's got 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, only 1 turnover, but he's done some really good things for Purdue.
Is this a way to get his confidence back, even though he's not shooting necessarily?
Absolutely. That's the biggest thing as a player. When you're not shooting the basketball well and you're going through a shooting slump, you've got to find other ways to contribute, and you've got to get other ways to feel good about yourself so that when you do get open shots and you do get to the free throw line, now you feel good about going up there and knocking it down.
Eastern given plenty of space to operate. Hunter off the screen. Back from Eastern. Hunter. That's pretty. That is pretty. And we've got a foul as well against Trevion Williams. His bold invite. He walked into the room with full scuba gear on.
I'm surprised that you're not on the call. You always find a way to get those Bahamas tournaments for men's basketball. And
yeah. You know,
find a way.
I do have dual citizenship now. So
oh, you should.
I might just
Smart
go and kick out Steve Levy. I think that would play well.
I'm sure he would really like that, yes.
That should be the Steve Levy makers wanted Bahamas Bowl. Greg McElroy on the call with Steve as well. Kick off the most wonderful time of the year for college football fans. Eastern given so much space because of his shooting woes, and he works his way into the paint and flips it in.
Well, you'd love to see that. Nogel Eastern, as you said, the defender backing off. Well, he's going to back you down, take you into the post, and he's so good with both hands. Gets to his right jump hook right there.
He's matched a season high. It's his 5th 6-point game of the year. Dardis fouled a 3 by Stefanovic. He'll go to the line, search for 4.
That's the first quality look that Jordan Dardis has had tonight. And Sasha Stefanovic goes under the flare screen. And when you do that on a shooter, you give him this kind of daylight, you cannot shoot the gap. You see the contact up above, and just a mental breakdown by Sasha Stefanovic on a guy who has made 257 3-point field goals in his career.
Stefanovic takes his seat with his 3rd foul. Jahan Proctor returns. Frustrating night for Sasha. And a 4-point play for the redshirt senior Jordan Dardis. He's now 51 threes away from setting the MAC record. Evan Boudreau on the drive, blows by Springs.
Boy, he just put that on the deck, put his head down, and got to his right hand. A little pick and pop action. Nate Springs taking a poor line back to Evan Boudreau. You mentioned his shooting woes earlier. You can take a short closeout there and make him prove it from downtown.
The pride of Lake Forest, Illinois, with his 2nd basket. Springs. Wow, he's got some range.
He has really showed it tonight. You put him in pick and pop situations. The freshman really having a nice game against Purdue, and Jason Preston has found him.
Folks in Ohio say he's got about a 7'5" wingspan, and he has added 20 pounds or so since the new staff arrived. 6'10", still only 205, but he can shoot it. Off the air ball from Thompson. Here come the Bobcats, trying to inject some life into this Convocation Center crowd.
If you're Ohio, if you can put some game pressure on Purdue, they haven't played well with leads on the season. You think about the Marquette game, you think about Texas.
And McDay with another offensive rebound, up strong for 2. And Matt Painter is ready for a Purdue timeout.
You're ecstatic with your young team's response to a tough first half.
It's an Ohio team with 8 freshmen, only 2 seniors, one of whom is a grad transfer, Obanda. A little bit of pressure here, easily broken by Purdue.
They handled Obanda's absence much better in the second half. They really struggled when they lost him, and Evan Boudreau gets caught with a moving screen.
And an offensive foul against Boudreau goes as Purdue's 4th turnover of the half.
You're going to see him come into the bottom of the screen, and part of that is honestly on Eric Hunter because you don't allow him to get set. He kind of leans into it. You have to wait on your screener so you can allow him to set a quality screen.
Nice ball movement, McDay for 3. London calling from the corner. It's a 10-point game. And a turnover. Last touch by Hunter. Great hands by Preston. Ohio will repossess.
This has been a total 180 here in just both teams' effort and execution. All of a sudden, Purdue, who had such an easy time scoring in the first half, finding it incredibly difficult in the half court to get anything going.
Springs has already hit 3 threes, nearly throws it away. Vanderplas for 3. Not close. And McDay kept off the offensive glass this time.
That was not a good shot. You're just starting to break for Purdue and asking for problems. Ohio gets lucky, though. Isaiah Thompson got a terrific look.
You played for Matt Painter teams that have seen big leads go down, I'm sure, at times. How does he coach? What does he say in these situations?
Well, he's always a calming influence. He has been in so many of these types of environments and types of situations. He's just looking to the next play, trying to draw something up and really regroup the troops.
Dardis. What a great find from Springs. Dardis hits the 3. It's a 7-point game. And the students that went home for finals are probably feeling a bit of remorse right now in Athens. The locals have been on fire. Boudreau, no, and the putback stuck in, stopping a 15-2 run. It's Aaron Wheeler.
You finally stopped the bleeding. Really impressed with Ohio's response, the way that they've handled this, the way that they're now shooting the basketball and moving the basketball.
And a foul on top will go against Hunter. Purdue's 6th of the half.
Boy, it's looked like a different team here. Ohio has come out in the second half, and they've got it going. Jordan Dardis heating up from downtown. Sure that Purdue knows who it is right now. They have to find themselves. I would think, though, going forward, because of their size advantage, Matt Painter's going to throw it into Trevion Williams, but they got to get a stop here. Ohio has come back and done a terrific job of executing on this end of the floor.
They've hit 4 threes in the second half. It's a 21-10 advantage. Make it 24 on a third three for a suddenly scorching Jordan Dardis.
Aaron Wheeler was trying to help off into the post, and Dardis just gave a little head fake, found he was wide open, and knocked it down.
Ohio has hit 6 of its last 8. Here is Proctor, just 2 for 7 in the game, and he draws the foul. Obanda's playing with 3, and he's just picked up his 4th.
That's a great drive by Jihad Proctor. You got a defender closing out, and instead of forcing up a perimeter jump shot, you decide to drive him, get to the basket, and get to the free throw line. Proctor so effective at getting to the rim. Nice jump stop so you don't run over Sylvester Obanda. It's a disciplined play by a senior.
Obanda will stay in for now as Proctor hits the first. Here comes Nate Springs. Some of the NBA's biggest stars, best teams highlight our doubleheader tomorrow night on ESPN and the ESPN app. We kick it off at 7 Eastern. Jimmy Butler and the Heat against Joel Embiid and the Sixers, who've been just about flawless at home this year. Then the Celtics and the Mavs, Kemba and Luka for a tasty nightcap. 9:30 Eastern. It's all presented by State Farm. No Luka in that game, beg your pardon. Luka Doncic still out with an ankle injury, will not play for Dallas. Kemba Walker will be there for the Celtics. Dardis. That was a heat check shot, nowhere close, and Eastern will bring the ball up.
That time, Sasha Stefanovic staying connected on the flare screen.
And here's a blocking foul on a slightly out of control Eastern. It will go against the freshman McDay.
Boy, he was lucky because No-Gel Eastern lowered his shoulder. And when you do that, you are asking for an offensive foul. I'm surprised they didn't give that to him. Definitely out of control.
First foul against McDay. This time Dardis draws Eastern. It's McDay against Proctor. Williams taken into the 205-pound Springs. A favorable matchup for Purdue.
That's exactly what Purdue needs to do. They need to throw the ball to Trevion Williams and allow him to go against the smaller freshman. With no Sylvester Obanda on the floor, he has got such an advantage.
Dardis all the way home.
It's amazing how when you're a shooter and you get it going, all of a sudden your whole offensive game opens up. Purdue is so worried about Jordan Dardis shooting the basketball from downtown that now it's a ton easier for him to get into the paint. And the pretty finish.
Great find by Williams. Hunter makes him pay his 4th three.
Eric Hunter relocating, and that defense is so fixated on what Trevion Williams is doing on the low block. Williams, a very good and willing passer, made a terrific delivery.
His 3rd assist. Preston in no man's land, and Dardis can't connect from deep.
Well, you got a good look. Purdue is incredibly fortunate.
There's Stefanovic on the drive and foul. Jason Preston picks up the foul, his 2nd for Ohio. T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Gonzaga, Carolina kicks it off. No Cole Anthony, out 4 to 6 weeks for the Tar Heels. What do they look like without him?
Well, you wonder how they're going to score. They really lack shooting, and without Cole Anthony, who's been such a high usage guy for them, you just wonder who they're going to turn to. They've got some other freshmen. Armando Bacot, a guy who has had a pretty good freshman year, but he's been injured. Garrison Brooks, but you just wonder Got a guy that's ran the show for them all year, and they've had their struggles. How are they going to put points up on the board?
Jeff Bowles told us before the game his team's had so many injuries. They've had to go 4-on-4 at times in practice, and you feel like Roy Williams might be facing that moment right now for UNC, coming off a loss to Wofford. There's a missed three by Springs, cleaned up on the rebound for Proctor.
Nice effort by Trevion Williams. He stunted to the three-point shooter and Ben Vanderplas, and then got back to Nate Springs, who we've seen knock down 3 triples today.
Williams calling for it. Proctor. Here's Hunter with a career high 16. He's made 4 threes. Williams, and he's called for another offensive foul. That's his 4th foul of the game.
That's one where you're asking Trevion Williams to just move the basketball. You're doing something that's outside of your comfort zone. He comes off a curl from Eric Hunter and puts it on the floor. This is easy for Jordan Dardis, who's just right there, and it's an easy call for the officials. Just not a very smart play.
3 of his 4 fouls offensive. Again, you look at the numbers per Williams. His per 40-minute number is about as good as anybody in the country.
Off the charts, and if he can just stay on the floor, and part of that's conditioning, part of that's foul trouble. He's got a lot of ability.
Springs. A career high for Nate Springs. His 4th three. He's got 12.
Nate Springs is shooting 40% or over 40% from 3 on the season. Now that he's knocked down 4, if you're guarding him, you have to have a sense of urgency. You got to understand that he has the hot hand and has got it going. I thought Jihad Proctor was just a little casual there.
There's Eastern. Eastern aggressive in the paint and a late whistle for a foul. A foul against Ben Vanderplas. Eastern to the line with a 10-point lead when we return.
Only one thing.
Basketball, keep making plays, and good things will happen.
No-Gel Eastern 0 for 6 at the line this year. And you see the hesitation in the release. That hitch has hindered him as he misses his 7th straight. So I'm working on free throws for quite some time in shoot-around today.
Well, Purdue has a free throw contest at the end of every shoot-around, and he made it deep into it today. So it's not that he can't make them. It's become a mental thing at this point. That's stating the obvious, but the guy shot 65% from the free throw line. When he made 65 free throws, he's certainly capable.
Well, that's going to feel good as he hits one, his first of the year, and then Purdue gets a takeaway. Proctor didn't see Eastern running free.
Boy, he was running super hard, and he honestly could have made that a great play. You don't get a shot out of it, but you certainly had the potential to do so. Purdue pulls it out, going to run their half-court offense.
Eastern wants it. Nice spin. Eastern reverses and scores. He'll return to that free throw line, which is feeling awfully friendly at the moment.
Boy, that was a major league move by No-Gel Eastern. The footwork, so impressive. You have Ben Vanderplas on your back. You feel him leaning to that high side, and you see the finish. This has been a different looking No-Gel Eastern tonight, and I think him getting himself going with little plays, layups, defensively, it's helped him. He has not played through his offense, and it looks like he hasn't been afraid to go to the basket tonight.
The season high 9 as he leaves the free throw short.
He can't worry about not making free throw. That's just, it's going to happen to everybody. You want to make them, but he's got to be aggressive in other facets because he can make contributions just as he's done tonight.
You said that's the number that stood out to you before the game. Not the 0 in the make column, but the 6 only in the attempt as Hunter drives in for a 15-point lead.
He has the prototypical body to get to the basket. He can post. He can drive. He's a physical presence. He's a good ball handler. He should get to the line 4 or 5 times a game. That's not out of the question.
Meanwhile, Hunter extends a career high 18. Just a 2-point per game scorer last year.
He's really improved, and he's done a nice job so far this season. We see Jason Preston getting to his right jump hook, which is something that he can also do. But Eric Hunter has taken that next step. He's elevated his game. He's averaging just under 12 points per game and a little over 3 assists. But a guy that Matt Painter has entrusted to run the show.
Hunter did pick up the foul there. Only the fourth point, third and fourth, I suppose, for Preston, who completes the three-point play. Does have 9 rebounds and 5 assists. Just 2 for 7 from the field, Ohio's star point guard. No Matt Arms with a concussion suffered Sunday. No Trevion Williams on the bench right now with 4 fouls for a smaller Purdue team. Boudreau on the lean-in, and an offensive foul called against Boudreau. Only his second.
Evan Boudreau playing off the closeout, and he easily could have kicked this to the corner. You're going to see it. No, that's definitely a block. That's not a charge. You can see the way he's leaning into that. But at the same time, Evan Boudreau's got to see, I've got 2 guys. One man's in front of me. Somebody has to be open. And that man was in the corner.
Sylvester Obanda back in the game with 4 fouls for Ohio. He's got the ball here. Does not have the putback. Fighting hard. Has to be careful as Proctor swims through. And Purdue will slow it down with a 12-point lead. What's the best set right now you've seen from Purdue?
Honestly, I think that I would get something going to No-Gel Eastern in the post. He has been incredibly effective. You can duck him in. He's got a smaller guard. That's exactly what Matt Painter's going to do. He's got Jordan Dardis on him.
Eastern, great find. And Stefanovic leaves it 3 long.
But you know what? You run 30 seconds of clock and you get a terrific look from your best 3-point shooter.
Vanderplas dribbles it off of Eastern.
I think if you came into this game and you were thinking about how Ohio can have success, you'd have to say it's going to be Ben Vanderplas and Jason Preston going wild. And that just has not happened tonight. Now, they've hung in there, and they're only down 12. Still almost 5 minutes to play, but those 2 guys need to score for this team.
They've combined for 8 points, and Preston turns it over for the 5th time. Eastern, look out below! Air Eastern!
Boy, the seas parted, and it looks like a different guy tonight. He has been so good. He's ran so hard in transition. Eric Hunter drops it off, and 3 Ohio defenders have the angle but not the interest in contesting that. That's a major league dunk.
To be fair, would you have the interest?
No, I would not. That was big time. Wow. And he's a terrific athlete. Had a great dunk at the start of the second half against Nebraska, but I just think No-Gel Eastern has played hard tonight.
11 points. He's 4 shy of a career high. Obanda may be lucky to not pick up his 5th foul. Oh, there's going to be a flop warning against Purdue. The flop from the middle of the play against Boudreau. So you like at least that the officials will let the play happen, sort of like an advantage in soccer, then call the flop. Whether or not you like the flop rule is a different question.
I will also say, too, that there are times where it seems like there was definitely contact there, and you could lose your balance, and you're not trying to flop, but you fall down, and now you can be penalized for that.
There's a deflection by Preston, and then a foul called against Eastern, and probably a good one, as it avoided an easy layup for Ohio. Jeff Bowles wants an intentional foul. First half, only 1 in the second. Ohio much cleaner with the ball. They've cut a 20-point lead to 6. It's now back up to 14. The rare Big Ten at MAC game. Purdue at Ohio. 2 years ago, Purdue beat Ohio 44-21 in a football game in West Lafayette. And as part of that deal, a basketball home and home was written into the contract. So last year Ohio went to Purdue, lost 95-67. Frankly, a pretty good deal.
Sounds like a great deal for Ohio. Yeah,
it's a kickball against Preston. Not often you get.
Their AD should get AD of the year on that one. That's solid.
Not often you get a power conference team to come to the MAC. Ohio hasn't hosted a Big Ten team since Wisconsin in 18 years. Kojo Eastern with a ferocious dunk, a season-high 11. Eric Hunter, a career-high 18. Trevion Williams, 12 points to lead Purdue, which is without Matt Harms after concussion suffered Sunday at Nebraska. Proctor, 3 to shoot. Not sure he knows it. Hunter. And the rebound down to Preston, his 10th. Jason Preston all the way. And a foul call. Preston will head to the line. Evan Boudreau picks up his 3rd.
At the line with 2 to shoot, Jason Preston.
%80 free throw shooter hits the first tonight at 11 Eastern over on ESPN. Coming up pretty soon. Sports Center with Kenny Mayne and John Anderson. We're 8 minutes away from that. Tim Legler joins the show. Breakdown Lakers Pacers. The Lakers win streak ending against Indiana. Jimmy Butler takes on his toughest opponent, the open water. And deciding factors for the big divisional matchups, Bills, Patriots, and Rams, Niners this Sunday. Sports Center, 11 Eastern. It's 7 minutes away now on ESPN and the ESPN app. Williams is fouled. We were down in the Bahamas. I don't know if you know that.
I'm aware.
We were in the Bahamas.
I saw you on TV and looked nice.
Tyrese Halliburton, likely first-round pick, star point guard for Iowa State, we discovered is afraid of water. So he did an interview with Chris Patola where just part of his legs were in the water. And he said he didn't want to go any further than that.
I'm glad that he's breaking barriers with you. You're such a terrific, not just broadcaster, but also just bringing out the best in people.
Yeah, thank you. Again, that was Chris, but I'll take the credit for it.
Tyrese Halliburton can really play. That dude is a stud. He can make plays for himself, for others. He's a terrific player in the Big 12 Conference.
Just don't put he and Jimmy Butler in floats, is what we've learned. Williams will check back out.
Going to Fog Allen doesn't scare him. Hopping in the kiddie pool might.
14-point game, 3 minutes to go. Ohio has hit 9 threes in the game, 6 this half. And this is an awfully long possession if they want to get back into this. A great find, McDay. Traveled, though. Good closeout by Stefanovic.
I mean, that was big time. That was a bullet pass from Jason Preston, and you have to give so much credit for Sasha Stefanovic on closing out to London McDay with a sense of urgency. He covered ground and completely altered that shot. He would have blocked it had he let it go.
Is that hard to do because you're not expecting the ball to come across the court?
Because you're help side. You have to be in the middle of the paint, and when that ball gets zipped like that, you're depending on the pass to have a little bit of arcs just so it gives you some time. Stefanovic didn't have any of that there and still got to the shooter.
Much improved defensive player this year, Stefanovic. Big part of this Purdue rotation. Proctor is fouled. Who was the best help side defender you ever played with?
Kevin Garnett. Because Kevin Garnett would completely shut down sides in pick and roll, which in the NBA is incredibly hard to do with the level of point guards you have. And KG would just talk you right through it. He was so good at it, and this is in his 20th season in the NBA. He was awesome as a help side defender.
Obanda, by the way, a little limp as he heads to the bench having fouled out. Now, you played with KG in his final year, right?
No, his second. He stuck around one more. I got out of town, not by choice.
He outlasted you.
Yes, he did.
Was he the reason you went to Russia, Robbie?
No, he was not. My reason of going to Russia was that nobody wanted me to play here.
That'll work, too. Proctor to the line. Purdue is 12 of 16. Ohio, by the way, has the worst, and I put this in very heavy quotes, free throw defense
That's just the worst
in
luck
the
ever.
country.
Like, I don't know what else you can say about that. That stinks if you're Ohio.
Opponents are hitting 82% of free throws against Ohio. I mean, what do you do? And Purdue is at 75%
Say some
today.
prayers, I guess. There's nothing you can do.
A statistical oddity, courtesy of our friend Ken Pomeroy. Purdue set to close out what will be a 7th win. And look, this is a 6-4 team that still has high NCAA tournament aspirations and Big Ten hopes. Their 4 losses have all been to either pretty good teams or at least a road loss in the Big Ten to Nebraska. This is one heck of an upcoming schedule. You get Butler this weekend, Central Michigan, home for Minnesota, and then these next 3 games after Minnesota to start the Big Ten. That is an absolutely grotesque stretch.
That's a gauntlet, and that's going to happen to every Big Ten team at some time this year, where you just are going on the road in a year where no one can win on the road, or no one has won on the road, and that's incredibly tough. At Illinois, at Michigan, then you get the Spartans coming into West Lafayette, and then you have to go to Maryland. I mean, no one in the league is going to envy that schedule, that's for sure.
Eastern missed both free throws after it's intentionally fouled. I just want to clarify, because I'm sure somebody out there heard you say no one's won on the road, and they say, well, you know, not literally. No, literally. Big Ten teams in Big Ten games are 13-0 at home.
Michigan State's got a chance to break that tomorrow at Northwestern.
They could be the first one. Right now it's Michigan State 1-0, Northwestern 0-1, and everybody else in the league at 1-1 in conference play.
Games where you look at them initially and say, like Ohio State, Minnesota, for example, you would have thought, even without Dwayne Washington, with the way Minnesota played at Iowa, they'll go into the Barton and they'll handle business, and that just wasn't the case. It's been really not just eking wins out. They've been emphatic victories.
Where do you see this Purdue team in the Big Ten?
I think that they're right now a middle-of-the-road Big Ten team, and I think there's a lot of teams there. I think you have a top tier, or I think you have Michigan, Maryland. I'm leaving somebody out. Who am I leaving out?
Are you leaving out Michigan State intentionally?
Yeah, Michigan State.
They haven't
and
played terribly well
put
so far.
Penn State in there as well.
Okay.
And I think those are your top 4. And then I think there's a bunch of teams that could be 5 through 12. I think Illinois is there. I think Purdue is there. I think Indiana at times, they look great against Florida State. They went to Wisconsin and looked disinterested. And that's just going to be how the league is this year. Iowa had they get a tough blow by losing Jordan Bohannon. Minnesota has beaten Ohio State, who was the number 3 team in the country at home. Daniel Oturu is much improved. It's going to be a game-to-game deal this year, where you just never know how your team is going to play.
You mentioned Penn State. First time ranked since 1996. That is hard to believe.
They are really talented. Lamar Stevens is a stud. Mike Watkins, when he's engaged, and he has been most of this year, is one of the better big men in the Big Ten. And they've got some guards that can shoot. Myron Jones has really impressed me. And I thought with Rasheer Bolton leaving, they would really miss his shot making, and that just hasn't been the case. Myron Jones has really stepped up.
We're on Tommy Luce watch right now. He and a few more walk-ons ready to check in for Purdue if there's another whistle. Aaron Wheeler. And that's a shot clock violation, so here come the walk-ons. And Purdue's going to go to 40-1 when Tommy Luce plays, which should be the lead nugget in your game notes.
He's undefeated.
No, it's 40-1.
No, I didn't hear you.
Yeah,
I tuned you out. He's not undefeated.
We got 16.2 left, Robbie.
Man, I was so close to getting out of here. And
it was almost a perfect game for you, too.
He's undefeated. That was really good analysis right there.
That's the USA Basketball Player of the Year, folks. Here's Tommy Luce with a steal. 40-1 for Tommy Luce. 7-4 for Purdue. They're winners on the road. They don't get tripped up in Athens 2 days after loss.